The film begins in a serene, vast Australian desert, devoid of any signs of life. Suddenly, an unidentified object descends from the sky, leaving a trail of fire behind it, and crashes onto the barren land. The next morning, a worker named Bill sets out to repair a damaged cell tower. Upon exiting his vehicle, Bill heads toward the tower and is surprised to see a small dog wandering a short distance from the nearby town. As he pets the animal, he notices something strange on the ground. He approaches and sees a dead rat lying there, covered in a strange, sticky red substance. Curious, he touches the unknown substance and suddenly feels a sharp pain throughout his body. Fighting the pain, he realizes that a worm-like creature is crawling beneath his skin toward his brain. Meanwhile, in a nearby town, a young boy named Simon is awakened by strange noises coming from outside his window. When he can't wake his mother, he goes to find his Aunt Joanne and excitedly tells her about his horrifying discovery. Getting out of bed, Joanne immediately calls her co-worker Luke to inquire about repairs to the cell tower. When she connects, Luke explains that Bill went to fix the tower, but hasn't heard from him since. Joanne tells Luke that she'll check the tower on her way to work if the signal fails, but the call is disconnected. Annoyed, Joanne hangs up and tells her sister, Samantha, that the movers will be coming on Saturday, expressing her excitement about moving to the city. Leaving the house, Joanne heads to the cell tower and finds it completely destroyed. Entering the fenced area, she sees a local technician filling out a report. Curious, Joanne asks him if there was a storm the night before, but he denies it, saying that a storm of that magnitude would have been heard. He further explains that the damage appears to have been intentional and that it will take a day to install a new tower. Troubled by this inconvenience, Joanne goes into town to gather information from the locals about the strange occurrences that occurred the night before. She goes to a nearby cafe and speaks with the owner, but receives no useful information. In the cafe's busy kitchen, Chef Anthony hears his dog whine outside and goes to investigate. Seconds later, a frightening sound is heard, and Anthony is seen wandering aimlessly down the street. Joanne and the cafe owner, noticing his strange behavior, call out to him, but he doesn't respond. Finding the situation strange, Joanne heads for her car, only to be horrified by the sight of blood on the ground. Following the trail of blood, she discovers Anthony's dead and mutilated dog near the fence near the cafe, with the same strange substance oozing from it. Sensing something unusual is going on, Joanne returns to her car and sees some teenagers gathered on the porch of an old building. Looking up, she asks them if they've seen anything strange with Anthony's pet. They say they don't know anything, but do mention that the dog was acting strangely that morning. Joanne moves on, warning them to let her know if they remember anything else. A few minutes after Joanne leaves, the teenagers look up and become uneasy, noticing some scattered, strange people. A little while later, Joanne arrives at the clinic and tells Luke about the dead animal and asks him to investigate the cause of death. She then goes into another room and tries to contact Bill by radio, but receives only silence. Meanwhile, in another part of town, Samantha is working in the library and sees her son and his friends looking out the window. She approaches them, peers out, and is stunned to see Bill standing completely still with a blank stare. Concerned, Samantha opens the door and calls out to him, but he doesn't respond, frightening Samantha to go back inside the building. At the station, Joan and Luke are visited by Angela, a local geologist with a keen interest in photography. Excited, she announces she has something interesting to show Joan and takes her to the desert to show her a huge crater in the rocky ground. She explains that the crater formed overnight and required a heavy impact. Joan listens skeptically to Angela's theory about an object falling from the sky, but advises sealing off the area and investigating further. While returning to the car, the two women find another dead animal with the same sharp structures protruding from its body. Realizing the two incidents are connected, Joan instructs Angela to take a sample from the animal. Meanwhile, at the school, Samantha keeps an eye on Bill and the children and becomes frightened by Bill's strange behavior. Suddenly, she remembers that one of her students had gone to the restroom, and she becomes worried about the safety of the children. While trying to find out the whereabouts of that man, Samantha realizes that Bill has disappeared. With increasing worry, she gathers all the children and takes them to another room of the school and instructs them to close the door. Samantha runs to the office and contacts Joanne through the radio. After many attempts, she is able to establish contact and gives the frightening news that she had seen blood on Bill's hands. Worried, Joanne advises Samantha to stay with the children and assures her that she is on the way. On reaching the school, Joanne finds Bill standing near the basketball court. His face was covered with a red-colored substance, and there was emptiness in his eyes. Joanne tries to talk to him about what happened, but she is not able to understand his words. As soon as Samantha runs toward them, Joanne tells her to wait outside while she goes to check the restroom. After going inside, Joanne sees blood collected on the floor, and as soon as she enters one of the stalls, she shivers with fear. Being terrified by that horrible, macabre scene, Joanne steps back. Coming outside, Joanne takes out her gun and points it at Bill and arrests him for the horrible crime committed by him. Meanwhile, Samantha goes to the restroom to see what Bill had done, and after seeing Bill's brutally killed daughter, she almost faints. Hearing voices from the nearby stall, Samantha opens the door and finds a frightened young man hiding. Covering his eyes from the horrible scene, she takes him outside. As soon as Joanne arrests Bill in her car, Samantha, trembling with shock, asks her sister why he would do this with his daughter. Being unable to give any satisfactory answer, Joanne advises Samantha to gather all the children and take them to the police station. Meanwhile in the town, Luke begins to doubt the strange wandering of Anthony and decides to follow him. Despite the attempts of conversation, Anthony remains silent and moves forward, barely accepting the presence of Luke. Standing there, Luke hears the distant voices of the teenagers hiding on the upper porch and looks upward. They tell that they were hiding to save themselves from the strange people and were hoping that someone would rescue them. When they say that, they cannot go outside because the doors are closed. Luke takes out his gun and enters the building and checks the surroundings and becomes shocked on finding Marcia hiding there. With tears in her eyes, Marcia tells that Anthony had attacked her, therefore she had to run to save her life. Saying that everything will be fine, Luke tries to take her safely outside, but at that very moment, Anthony suddenly attacks him. After being thrown far by Anthony, Luke sees the terrible changes happening on his face, where strange veins appear. After this, Anthony jumps on Marcia and, holding her head, smashes it hard against the wall. While trying to save her, Luke fires a shot, which hits Anthony in the leg. He runs away, screaming in pain. While following Anthony, Luke suddenly meets Dean, who was also showing similar symptoms. Suddenly, Dean begins to run, and Luke follows him, but he is not able to catch him. Reaching his house, Dean attacks his wife, and holding her neck, breaks it. At the same time, Joanne reaches Dean's house and sees the horrifying scene of the dead woman. After meeting Luke, both the officers search for Dean, who is now holding his little son. While trying to calm the madman, Joanne tries to see the condition of the baby, but Dean attacks her, due to which Luke has to shoot him. As soon as that man falls on the ground, they see a huge, monstrous creature disappearing beneath the ground. Their shock breaks when zombie-like infected people start chasing them. Both the officers run toward their car and return to the police station. As soon as they reach there, they immediately contact a doctor and ask to examine the condition of Bill. After a brief examination, the doctor tells Joanne that this condition is not like anything he had ever seen before, due to which they become even more confused. As soon as the doctor leaves, Joanne carefully talks to Bill, who seems to be regaining consciousness. Excited, she asks him what had happened that morning. With tears flowing from his eyes, Bill confesses that the voices coming in his head forced him to commit the horrible crime. Despite realizing his actions, he tells that he could not control himself and pleads her to kill him. Suddenly, Bill's face changes into a terrifying form, and a different voice comes from inside him, saying that he had ended the life of the girl immediately by breaking her neck. Being frightened by these incidents, Joanne tells Luke to gather all the uninfected people and bring them safely to the police station. After returning to the office, Joanne and Luke receive a call from Angela, who tells that she wants to leave the town and is seeing a huge sandstorm. Despite trying to cross the storm, she fails and tells that going ahead is impossible. Being worried about her friend, Joanne drives toward the outer area of the town so that she can bring Angela back. Meanwhile, at the school, Samantha feels herself surrounded by staring strangers, and following the advice of Joanne, decides to go to the police station. As soon as they run toward the car, the group becomes stunned after seeing a horrible scene where a supernatural creature was attacking people and dragging them into the ground. After the danger passes, Samantha takes the group to the police station, where some people reach to take shelter while the rest of the community remains locked in their homes. However, the infection had already reached some houses, due to which entire families had been killed. As night falls, Joanne, along with a young man hiding in the police station, goes out to save the possible survivors in the city. Meanwhile, Luke and Samantha save themselves. While looking outside from the window, they hear an ear-tearing scream echoing in the air. Going in the direction of that frightening sound, they see a huge creature finishing the infected people one by one. Out of curiosity, Luke and Joanne go outside and face that monster, which, dragging the lifeless body of Bill from the roof of the nearby detention cell, disappears beneath the earth. After the attack, the group comes to know that a little girl is missing, and they go out to search her. After searching, they become shocked to see Michelle being attacked by her infected mother. As soon as they try to save the girl, the alien creature suddenly appears. Holding the leg of Michelle, her mother is dragged by the alien, and Michelle also drags along with her. In the desperate attempt to save the girl, Joanne fires a shot and, by shouting, tries to attract the attention of that creature. Picking up a shovel, she strikes on the hand of the infected woman and frees Michelle, and the creature takes the lifeless body away. The alien creature takes the infected dead bodies to the desert and burns them in fire, and ends this disease and finishes the dust clouds covering the city. Next morning, and try to understand the reality. Sitting in front of the police station between Luke and Joanne, Luke expresses the desire to leave the town, while Joanne talks about staying. We see Joanne watching her nephew sleeping, and her eyes remain fixed on the drawing which the child had made of the alien creature. The film ends here.